So Moira, kick us off. What's your number one tip on letting go to move forward? What would you like to bring in?
The first one is awareness. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, in my letting go process, that is step number one, is awareness. But to help you with awareness, what I just made a wee note of here is to write things down. Writing things down, it's almost like having a wee visit with what's really going on with me emotionally, what's really going on with my verbiage, my inner chatter, my inner dialogue. Is there a bunch of woulda, coulda, shouldas, or I have to, or I've got to, or so it's about just tip number one, being aware of where you are.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, 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 welcome. That's my telephone voice. Actually, no, it's what am I? I'm podcasting.
You're
Conversation.
podcasting.
Yeah, that's my podcast voice. Welcome. Thanks for joining our delicious. Imagine doing that. Anyway, deliciously motivated mindset podcast or conversation or whatever
Discussion.
with Debz, and Moira. That's us. That is us. Today's one. So what I need to do now is let go of my introduction. Go, did you really introduce like that? Letting go to move forward. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
One of my favorite topics.
Yeah.
Favorite topic.
Of course, because she's created a whole program around it. Letting go to move forward. Welcome to Debz, that's me, and Moira, that's
me.
her. That's her with the accent. As we talk today about letting go to move forward, but I will literally crack on as quick as I can now because I've given you a minute of piffling. One of the things we do, if you haven't joined us before, thank you for joining. One of the things we do is we do a check-in, and this check-in is just like it's just check-in. It's just a check-in to see where you are emotionally, where you are physically, where you are mentally, right here, right now, so that we can move forward. That's pretty much it. There is no right or wrong. And to check in, we're going to number ourselves. And a 10 being Moira's favorite word, discombobulated, in an absolute pickle, in an absolute state. In fact, sometimes you can go beyond a 10.
Oh, yes.
When you just can't see clearly and you just want to get that blanket and pull it over your head and
sit in the corner.
Yeah, tap your Dorothy shoes, your little red shoes, and when you take the blanket off, everything is perfect around you. That's a 10. Yep. That's when you're just like, I can't cope. Nothing is going right in your head, in your body, and you just can't even think clearly. And then there's the 5, which is not so bad. And then there's the 0. And the 0 is, oh, okay, this is where I am. Everything's perfect. And when I say perfect, it could be chaos around, but you can just see it as perfect. There's no, I've got to do this now, or there's nothing in the past that you've regretted, and you're just living present, breathing.
In the moment.
In that place of presence, in the moment. And it's a 0. So in saying that, Moira, what number are you right here, right now?
I'm right here, right now. I'm a 1.5. How about you?
I'm a 2 because that was the longest winded introduction ever, I think. So I've given myself a little bit of a beat myself up, a little bit of a 2. We'll give ourselves a 2. But I would have said I was a 1, but I was going, Deborah, you are clearly piffling.
Discombobulated.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to say a 2. But today's episode conversation is going to be pretty inspiring, because this is about no shame or guilt. It is actually about letting go to move forward, because when you're stuck in that 10, you can't see a way out. You're completely frazzled.
Yeah.
And you're immobilized.
Yeah.
Basically. I mean, you can be immobilized at a 5, you can be immobilized at a 3. Don't get me wrong. But when you're in a 10, you're in a definitely immobilized state.
Definitely.
So Moira, kick us off. What's your number 1 tip on letting go to move forward? What would you like to bring in?
The first one is awareness. In fact, in my letting go process, that is step number 1, is awareness. But to help you with awareness, what I just made a wee note of here is to write things down. Writing things down, it's almost like having a wee visit with what's really going on with me emotionally. What's really going on with my verbiage, my inner chatter, my inner dialogue? Is there a bunch of woulda, coulda, shouldas, or a have to, or a got to, or so it's about just tip number 1, being aware of where you are. You could be in a pickle. You could be in a space of shaming yourself or pulling yourself down or self-sabotaging, but you can't do anything or let go of any of this until you really just step into it and build that awareness. Right?
Yeah. When we think about that, so the awareness is actually just a simple one. It's just be aware.
Yeah.
That's it. So we're not telling you to fix it or resolve it or anything.
You don't want to get into any fixing right now.
No, literally all you're doing now is you're making yourself aware. And once you've made yourself aware, you go, oh, okay. Excuse me, then you can pick or choose.
Yes, because even in your awareness, you may even come up with some things of, oh, I've been having this mindset or this conversation. It's actually got nothing to do with me. We could be taking on what we think other people think or this other person wants from us, and it's actually got nothing to do with us. So in our awareness, we could be going, oh gosh, I've got this tape playing that's like 20 years old and doesn't really belong in this environment or this space and time, right?
Yeah. And I'm going to say, yes, it is. And then I'm going to say, along that awareness is take the time. Take the time, honor yourself. So, grab yourself a note-taking device.
Oh, right. You got to tell people to pen or pencil.
Pen or pencil.
If you're Deb or Moira, then you're going to have a pencil.
Then there's a pencil going on here. Yeah, that's the one. Take the time.
I like what you said about honoring yourself. I think that's a really important part here.
Yeah, because you respect yourself, honor yourself. You are important. If you don't take the time to look at your glitches, if you don't take the time to look at your 10s, if you don't take the time to look at your 0s, you don't take the time, to ground yourself, to self-soothe, self-heal. Like if you just don't take the time, the universe will give you time. And that time that it gives you is often at inconvenient times. I'm just gonna put it like that. So if you take the time for you to nourish yourself, then you're in control of your own world.
Completely. And I'm putting that one actually as a point of its own. That's a tip of its own, because that takes this awareness even one step deeper. Because sometimes in your awareness, you may actually become aware of, oh, I haven't been giving myself the time. I haven't been honoring what my dialogue is pointing me towards. So it's such a crucial thing that I think that this respect yourself, honoring yourself, and self-soothe is that's all on its own. Yeah, such an essential part, because it is to do with this whole letting go to move forward. In order to let something go, you must be aware of all aspects of it first. And respect, right, wrong, good, bad, doesn't matter. It just is, right?
So even, and letting go to move forward. I was just thinking when you said that, then you don't have to lose yourself in this process.
Oh gosh,
Like you
no.
don't have to let go of people. You don't have to you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Like you don't
Maybe
have
you do need to let go of people, but that's going to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do to let go to move forward. Yeah, you don't have to lose yourself in this process. You don't have catastrophic events to take time out. You don't have to you I don't know how to word it. But you know what I mean? You don't have to have just I guess listen to yourself.
Yeah.
I know, which is that awareness. How do I sum this up?
I think that it's about finding your rhythm, finding your right. Because when we find our rhythm, that means, oh, well, some people may need to have a sit down and check in with themselves every day. Other people, it could be once a week.
Well, also every day. Yeah, but see, your rhythm can change at any time as well. So find your rhythm and be prepared to change it. Like it's not set in concrete. I think that's the other thing is. So today it might be, okay, at 10 o'clock every day, I'm going to stand outside and appreciate my world. Great. But 4 days in, I'm loving this. 4 days in, someone wants to talk to you at 10 o'clock and you're like, no, I can't do this. That's okay. You can still move that 10 o'clock for yourself. You're still honoring yourself as long as you move it to a time that works for you, that's not going to compromise your head or your soul or anything. So,
so
you're still
it's finding your rhythm, but stay flexible, right?
Yeah.
Well,
if you've got children, if you've got babies, you have to be flexible in many, many, many ways. If you're an employer, you have to be flexible. If you're in an intimate relationship, you have to be flexible. Okay, look, everybody, you have to be flexible. Okay, find your rhythm, but be flexible. And I think that's actually a point on its own.
I did put it as a point on its own. I agree. Because here's the thing too, and the whole thing about being flexible is such an important part, because with this idea of letting go, there's a flow. And if you get really rigid of, oh, I have to get rid of this, I have to let go of this pattern or this habit or this propensity or this person or this thing, right? Because it can be something tangible, it can be a mindset, it can be a habit, it can be a pattern. But if you get rigid and get really overly structured or stuck to it, this is the way it's got to be.
Concrete fixed.
It's going to stick to you. It's going to stick to you. How can you and conceivably, when things get stuck to you like that, you're going to be weighted down. And how can you move forward then? Because you've got all this baggage of these things that you're not saying, oh, what can I let go of, or what's my bandwidth at this moment for this?
Yeah, what's my bandwidth? I think, and I've just come up with another tip when Moira was talking then, which goes back to that awareness when Moira said write things down. I'm going to use the word P, and the P word is prioritize.
Okay. I thought Moira's you wanted to go. She needs a restroom break.
I need a P. Prioritize your stuff. And it is just stuff. And that goes back to that finding your rhythm and be flexible. So prioritize that list. Prioritize yourself. Prioritize your world. Prioritize the people around you. Prioritize, because you don't want to feel like when you hang around certain people and you're doing something for obligation and you're going to somebody's event or social event or something, and then you feel like they're like, oh, Moira's coming. Yay, I can ask her all these questions. Oh, how exciting. Moira's going to be there. I'm going to sit with her and Moira's like, oh, you know what? I just wanted to come and be present today and not actually jump into my Moira head, and you feel like they're a leech and they've sucked all the blood out of you, that you come away just completely drained. So prioritize your energy, prioritize your soul, prioritize your choices. Just prioritize that list. When Moira talked about your awareness, just prioritize. And remember, you are human. Maybe actually you are human's a completely different, remind yourself you're human in this.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's another tip. Prioritize your stuff, but you are human.
Yes, and that you have the right. And to your example there is that just because you are known as a
Specialist in your field.
Yeah. So Moira's coming, she'll pull a tarot card for me. Well,
Yeah.
maybe that day that Moira doesn't want to pull tarot cards because she just, like you say, maybe I just want to go and be there. Then, but this is the key piece about the letting go, is that for me, I would then have to be willing to stand up for myself and say, maybe next time. I'm not in the mindset, or I don't have the bandwidth for that right now, or I'm just really needing to take care of
Or
me.
book a session.
Book a session.
Or hey,
absolutely.
or when I'm out of here, I'll send you a link to my calendar.
Yeah.
Or here's a link to my calendar. Like, yeah, so it is, you are important. All these tips are all flowing into one again, aren't they? They're going right back to the start. Take your time and respect yourself and honor yourself again.
Yeah.
You are important.
Yes.
You are incredibly important.
Absolutely. So, this actually brings me into the second step of my letting go formula, is to accept. And I just thought of that when you were saying, I mean, it is part of my formula, but you are important. It's such an important piece to accept. Yes, you are important. And you, not only are you important, but each one of us, we teach others how to treat us. And so if we are in an environment where somebody goes, oh, just give me this and just do this and just do this. Oh, wait, what did I do or say that says you can do that? And so this can be a bit of a reframe for you to go, wait, nope, I didn't give you the green light on that. Right?
That is something that I find in when they do a discovery call or a quick come in here call or whatever, and what tends to happen is, especially new coaches I see, is they give so much in that discovery call that literally they've overwhelmed that person, that they've answered all their questions, or that first consult, and they've given them resolved 10 issues in 1 hour, that they are completely drained. And then that person comes back again and they expect the same process again. They expect those 10 answers.
Right, because that's what they set it up as.
Because that's exactly it. And I mean, I don't like the word boundaries, but it is that, yes, you are important, and we teach others how to treat us, but we set that stage right from the start.
Yep.
And I'll be fine for the first couple. I'll do the first couple at 1.5 hours, and then I'll cut back to 1 hour, and then I'll cut back to 45 minutes. No,
but
if you start at 1.5 hours,
it's going to stay there.
They're going to want 1.5 hours
that's
every
what they
time.
expect. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love that accept.
So, and this is the thing, because also too is that sometimes when we're talking about letting go to move forward, if we don't just accept, so in your example there, so a new startup coach might do that, first session 1.5 hours and give you all the wisdom. Got to just accept that's what I did. It's not right or wrong. You just accept. But then the next time you make a different choice, especially in that example, if you think about it, okay, so I set it up that way, and I'm so drained, I'm exhausted, and the person just keep coming back saying, do it again, and the same thing again. And so then when you look at your schedule and you think, oh gosh, it's that person again, there's a sign too that you got to even accept that of, oh gosh, I've got an ugh feeling that I've got this type of session. Well, accept that, but now what you going to do? How are you going to change it? Right?
Yeah.
Because change has to happen right there. Because it's when we accept.
Burnout happens if you don't.
What's that?
Burnout happens if you don't.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah.
I think change it is actually a separate tip.
Oh, it is.
Like change it. Either change it or don't, but don't bother moaning about it.
So here's the thing, is that this tip is to change it, but changing it means, to me, it can mean I change the way I talk about it, I change the way I think about it, or I change the way I speak to that person about it, or I change the format of it, or do you see what I'm saying? There's so many different, so it can, but it starts internally. So if I accept I've overpromised or I've overcommitted, there's the acceptance. Now I have to change it. I can make some phone calls and say, I've overbooked myself. I would like to see you at this point. Right?
Yeah. And I always say change it or don't. And so there's actually no don't here.
No, there isn't. No,
there's actually no don't. So you
yeah.
actually change it. Like there is no don't. It's change it. Change the way you talk about it. Change the way you speak about it. Change the format. That's it.
Change the way you
it.
think about it. Yeah. And so it can be as simple as, oh, I'm not going to use that word anymore. That's it. It can be super simple like that. Or, oh, I have to call that person and actually reschedule that. Or I have to write it out what my expectations of them are and what I'm willing to give in there, right?
Yeah.
So it can be as complex or as simple as is right for you and the situation, but it has to happen.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not accepting that you're the boss of it and that you're educating other people how to treat you in that regard.
Yeah.
Right? It's also interwoven.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's internal and external change right?
I like that. I've got a group session after this. It's clearly some of these notes I'm going to be bringing into the group session, by the way. I like that. So when you started talking, I went comparisons. It's the C word this time. Surprise. And the C word is comparisons. So when you're comparing yourself to others, that can take you on a downhill spiral roller coaster that you have to hold on, and you've got white knuckles and you're screaming and no noise comes out, like at a fast and rapid speed. So with comparisons, I say to people, just recognize your genius.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you say recognize your genius, they go, but they're very creative. And it's like, okay, so they might be creative in what? Well, they're very creative. They can sew. They can see a dress on a model and then they can go and sew it. That's great. I can't do that. So where are you creative? What does creative? It means you can see something and you can create something from. So for me, I can hear something. Someone will say something and I can go, oh, there's a program. There's the 4 weeks I can talk about for that. Like, so my genius is in that. My genius is not seeing a beautiful dress and being able to design it, or picking up a paintbrush and painting. But my genius is in different areas that I can look at. So it's recognize your genius, whatever that is. The moment you see that comparison in someone else, just go, what is it I'm comparing them to? Okay, they're creative, or they're thoughtful, or they're generous with their time. So look where all those things are in your context way, in your way, not their way.
And that's perfect, because we've said this on previous episodes about
constantly
what we see in others. This something similar is within us. And so to your point, if you see somebody's creativity and, oh wow, I so celebrate that creativity, well, then the next step, like you say, Deb, is saying, so where's your creativity? Oh no, I'm not creative. Well, you actually are. What's your genius is the perfect doorway into that. So mine is helping people listen to their inner wisdom, helping them let go of what's discombobulating them, and calming their nervous system. These are areas of my genius. So it helps me know that, to then see that, oh, that's why I get so inspired by, I have a dear friend who does the most glorious stained glass. So I can celebrate that.
Yeah.
Actually, she's teaching me how to do it. P.S.
Actually, that's where I've seen your samples lately.
Oh, I haven't done any work on it for a while, but it's going to happen soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love she'd go, look what I made. Oh. And I was always like, wow, I don't have the patience for that. And I'm like, but I have the patience talking to some people. Sometimes. I just say sometimes I have the patience. Yeah.
But it's so important when we're having conversation about letting go to move forward, about the letting go of comparison, because comparison will only weight us down. It will only show us what we think we're not, but it's actually what we need to do is to embrace the fact that it's showing us what we are. Right?
Yeah. Well, this is the stuff that can spiral you. Like, I think the other thing is notice the spirals. Maybe that's it. So as soon as you start seeing the spirals, you know, I know Moira talked about awareness, and we were talking about taking time and finding, like, the moment you see it,
pause right there.
Yeah. So maybe I'll just say, open your eyes early, because nobody wants that chaotic, you know, at the start we talked about a 0 to 10. No one wants that 10. I mean, but there's value in the 10. Don't get me wrong, there's value in the 10, because it does make you get sharp and clear on what's important to you. But, you know, the moment you see that spiral, or the moment you see yourself comparing and your body's going, yuck, and I'm not sleeping and I'm thinking about that, like, stop.
Right.
Just stop straight away. The moment you see it, stop. And go back to these tips that we're giving you. Like, so hit the spiral early. The moment that roller coaster takes that first bend, then stop and look at it, because it's a lot easier to repair the roller coaster on the first bend than it is
on the 20th.
The 20th, when it's tipped upside down and completely shattered and broken to a million frickin' pieces. Yeah.
I just noted that down. It's basically like staying present to what your pattern is, or your spiral is. So this is about being the observed and the observer. There's a mindfulness technique there, right? So stay mindful of, oh, whoops, got this crazy making train starting to leave the station. I can actually take the engine out, turn the engine off. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can get off that train at any time. Yeah. You just don't have to wait until it derails itself.
Yes. Yeah. So the thing is that letting go to move forward is a huge, huge reminder to, and I've said this so many times before, you're the boss of you. Nobody else is. So by letting go, you are actually reclaiming your power. You're saying, nobody else gets to tell me who and what I am until I actually get in touch with that within me. Yeah. And that's one of the best ways to start moving forward, is to say, oh, I've got in touch with what lights my heart up, what does yes feel like within me. That, and then you start moving forward. And sometimes these moving forward steps are tiny, tiny baby steps. So you just stay patient, right? I think patience is an important part here too.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Well, even oh my God, patience. I do have patience for some things and others I don't. So even the reclaim your power, you know, and having that patience is also letting that guilt and shame go.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, I know when you were talking about accept, I was going to mention guilt and shame, but you know, but letting it go, because you can't change what's happened.
Nope.
You definitely cannot change what's happened in the past.
But also, and you can't, and retelling the story is not going to help you.
Right? Unless you tell us, and then I'm going to say, but unless
get rid of it.
Yeah, and I'm going to say you can repeat that story to us.
Yep.
And we can reformat that story.
Reframe it, rewrite it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is important to tell the story, but with the awareness that the only way I can unpack this and accept it is if I speak it out.
Mm.
And then I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's the reanimating of it that creates this stickiness and doesn't allow us to move forward, because we're living stuck in a past paradigm.
Yeah.
Which just will not serve anybody. You in particular, right?
Yeah, no one wants to be around that person.
No. Oh, here so-and-so
No.
goes telling the same story again.
Yeah. Oh, here they go. Oh, you met my auntie. Oh, did she tell you about this? Yep. And she tell you about this? Yep. And did she tell you about that as well? Yep. My auntie doesn't do that, actually. I'm just going to say that. But did you, when you meet, so I was thinking, God, my auntie's listening. She's going, was that me or was that the other auntie? They don't. They're actually really good. They don't repeat stories that I'm aware of. Remember the time? Well, actually, we do repeat stories. We repeat different stories. Remember the time, Deborah, you were growing up and you did this? No, I don't remember at all. We don't need to repeat that story. But people know you as being that person. Do you want to be known as the one who repeats the story and moans about this and isn't inspired in life? Like,
so I don't know where this wisdom came from, but I was taught that if somebody repeats a story to you, or repeats a story or something, it's because they didn't feel acknowledged when they first told you.
100%.
Yeah. And so therefore, if somebody repeats a story, in my mind, I'm going, oh, I guess I didn't say I heard that loud enough or fully enough or use the words. Or maybe I need to up the volume. My husband's hard of hearing, so now maybe I need to say it a wee bit louder. I heard you, honey.
So that's those three things. And seen, heard, acknowledged.
Yes. That we all need that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where complaints come in.
Mm-hmm. Precisely.
I remember I went to a very posh hotel, probably one of the poshest in Wellington area, and we were staying there during the Football World Cup, and it was very expensive, but it felt beautiful. So like it wasn't about the money, it was about the whole experience. Well, my experience was poo.
Oh no.
My experience was poo, right from turning up and they saying, okay, we have to shut the water off for 8 hours today. And I was like, what? And I was grateful I'd already, I was I didn't need the water running for 8 hours. And I was going in there anyway to use my laptop. So for those 8 hours, I was actually in my office, my hotel room office. But it was that. Then it was the restaurant. And I went down and I complained about the water. I said, this is pretty harsh. Mm-hmm. And then we went to the restaurant, and the restaurant service was shit. Like the whole experience was yuck. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa, this is not good. So I tried to tell a few people, mm-hmm. and staff, and I wasn't seen, heard, and acknowledged.
Right.
And when we went to check out, the lady says, and she was a beautiful woman who I've stayed there many times before, and she's mm-hmm. just absolutely, she goes, oh, Deborah, of course she already knows my name because she knows me as checking out, and she knows what room I'm in anyway. So I'm not aware that she's going to remember me out of all the thousands of people who come through there. Mm-hmm. But she says, oh, Deborah, how was your stay this time? And I said it was complete rubbish. And she just looked at me. And every time I go, thank you so much for the times. And she went, oh, are you okay to talk about it? And I said, well, the water yesterday. I said, and all I said was the water yesterday. And she just looked at me. And I said, and then last night at the restaurant, I said, I just had the worst service I've ever had. And she said, just stop, Deborah. She said, you can carry on. Do you want to carry on? I went, no. She goes, I'm just going to wipe the whole bill for you.
Oh, wow.
And I nearly cried. I got such a shock.
Best acknowledgement.
We're talking about $1,000 bill that I had there.
Yeah.
And she just went, it's done. It's cleared. And I looked at her, mm-hmm. and I just went, what do you mean? I didn't expect that. And literally she saw me. She heard me, and I can tell you now, I actually said to my partner, I'm not coming back here again. I'm not coming back here again.
Right.
This is not what I paid for, but also doesn't feel a beautiful experience for me.
Yeah.
And my partner was like, okay, Like, okay, Deborah, you're making the decision. Like, okay, I'll go with you on that. But when she did that, I went, I'm 100% coming back here.
Yeah, definitely. Of course you would.
And I still to that day, and it was only probably a few months ago, but I remember it was just like done. But I didn't even have to repeat the story. Like she could see the look on me, and she saw me, she heard me acknowledge. I didn't have to throw any toys. I just was very calmly, and she just said, done.
It's perfect. That's a perfect example. And you didn't have to, you know, put in bad reviews or have a tantrum or any of that. No, and that's the point.
She saw me, and I came back to my partner. I said, this is what happened. And my partner went, oh, seen, heard, and acknowledged, was it? And I was just like, yeah.
Oh, she listens to me.
Oh my God, I know. And then I was like, this shite works. This stuff I talk about works. But it was just a beautiful experience. And she didn't need to check with her manager. Like and I've told people, I just said, oh, when they go, we're going to Wellington, I go to that place. It's amazing service.
Right.
I haven't,
because of the ripple effect of that is
and I haven't
huge.
need to say this rubbish happened and this is how they resolved. I didn't need to tell that whole story because they just seen, heard, and acknowledged, boom, done. Yeah.
But that's beautiful because, you know, it is said, like we think about, we live in times of social media, and they talk about the negativity spawns and it gets louder and
keyboard warriors and everyone has their say on this.
Yeah. So but that story is so beautiful because it puts that positive spin in there. So now, like you said, now not only are you going to go back there, but you're telling so many other people. And so that to me creates this big, beautiful bubble.
I love bubble.
Of positivity. And it's all because you were seen, heard, and acknowledged. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And absolutely. But
you see also now you can let go of any angst
I let go
that you had, you let it go and you moved forward.
But it was done so there was no it was done. I wasn't moaning. I was conscious of my
telling the truth though. You are telling the truth, and that's an important part there too.
And
right?
I think if I stood there and yelled and swore and did the whole losing my shite at her, it probably would have been a different situation. I did not even expect that acknowledgement. I didn't even expect that response from her. It was like done, boom. Because I got in. I was like, what?
I remember, you know what, talking about that, it reminds me of this time. This is a long time ago. Where I got my car towed because I parked illegally. And I thought, I'm just going to run in. Actually, I was running into a crystal store of all things. I came back out and I'm like, oh my God, my car's not here. And somebody saw me looking around and going, where's my car? And she said, oh, did you have a white, whatever the car was? Yep. Oh, it just got towed. And I'm like, oh, I've never had this happen before. So I found the number. There's these signs that's like, don't park here. And if you're towed, here's the number.
That I can never see unless I've got my glasses on, just saying. Yeah.
So I called it and I had to get a cab there. And it was this huge big place where there was all these snarly, there was some nasty people in there. So pissed off, as you can imagine, right? Nobody wants to car
100%.
So I had to stand in the lineup. And then when it's my turn, I gave her the license and proved who I was and paid the fine. And I was just, it's like, I knew I was in the wrong. So I wasn't shouting at anybody. And so she was starting to be all apologetic. And I'm like, it's not your issue. It's me. It's mine. And so, like I said, I paid the fine and she said to me, I have never dealt with anybody in this place that was so calm and so kind. And so she called somebody from the back who escorted me out and helped me get my car. Otherwise, I was going to have to go and try and find it all by myself in this massive lot with hundreds of cars.
I love hearing that. And it is about, because you respected her as a human. She's just there doing her job.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So seen, heard, and acknowledged. So that was her that I saw, heard, and acknowledged her. And so she's like, oh, wow. I'm not used to dealing with people like you. So here's your little gift, right? So the point was I was in and out of there within 20 minutes. Normally people going in there was like 1.5 hours to get processed out. So anyways, I'm aware of our time. This has been an awesome conversation. I think we could talk about the letting go to move forward
this is
a lot.
If you want a stage 2, if you want a level 2, then let us know.
Just let
We're
us
here.
know. Absolutely.
Let us know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. What a beautiful one to end on, though.
Yes, I know.
And I guess me just, seen, heard, and acknowledged that there, and then how we treat people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it does go down to that. What do they say? Treat people how you want to be treated.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, dear listeners, if you didn't have your note-taking devices, we encourage you to get that to hand, if you're not driving, of course. But we're going to run through all of the tips that we touched on in our letting go to move forward. Let's have you kick us off, dear Deb. What's tip number 1 that you got?
Starts with the letter A. And Moira's like, oh, thank goodness, I know what she's going to talk about. And this is awareness. This is awareness. And this is write things down. Be aware. You don't have to you just have to be aware of it. It's as simple as it's literally awareness. But get it out of your head, because when it's in your head, it is one crazy place to be. So if you can just get it down to that piece of paper, just like you're writing your notes now, don't store if I asked you to store all these tips in your head and then you had to pass that on to someone else, your head's going to be so full.
It'd explode.
Pull out the weeds and replant with flowers.
Yep. I like that.
Yeah.
Awesome. The next tip I had here was to respect yourself. Respect yourself, honor yourself, self-soothe. It's about, and this actually was, I pulled this out as a separate tip, because awareness, sometimes we can become aware of, I'm not respecting myself. I'm not giving myself space to just be aware of what's going on. What kind of words am I using? What kind of choices I'm making? So that's why it's kind of like important to respect yourself, to say, I matter. I deserve my own loving kindness, my own attention, my own attentiveness, which is all building awareness, right? Yeah,
totally. I think the thing I'm just going to say with that is, you are worthy of this.
Of course, yes.
I think that's our thing. We sort of forget. We're like, oh, we're not worthy of this, and I deserve this, and this whole self-talk. And I know this is not even a tip on its own, but you are worthy of having a magnificent life. You are, and nobody wants to see you in a pickle.
Nope.
No one wants to. When people pass, they don't want to see you grieving. When people fire you, just even if you've been an a-hole, they don't want to see you suffer. Stop suffering yourself. Stop. So maybe there's another tip in there, 2.5. You are worthy.
You are worthy. Well, that comes from respecting yourself. You matter.
Absolutely. Totally. The next one we've got is finding your rhythm. And when you find your rhythm, be flexible. Be flexible.
Absolutely.
Be flexible with life happens. 2020, life happened, the year of the pivot.
Yeah, which you don't get to be rigid. Being rigid will not let you let go of what's not working, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Find your rhythm, but be flexible.
Yeah, I like that.
And I do giggle at the pivot, because we'll just change this way. Okay, well, let's change this way. I don't want to change. Okay, but I've got to.
Yep.
That's it.
Which way are you facing now? Oh, I'm facing this way now.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Definitely. The next one I have here is to prioritize. So this is and this kind of tethers onto what you're saying about worthy. It's prioritizing is claiming and naming and knowing that you are important, that you stand up for yourself, that you say, this is what I need, or this is what my bandwidth is at the moment. This is what I'm offering here and now. But it's about just being, that comes from awareness, of course, right? Being able to prioritize and stay flexible, because your priority order may be slightly different from day to day, right?
Yeah, because otherwise that can make you crazy.
Yep. And we don't need
That
more
can-
crazy making stuff.
That can take you to that 10. Yeah,
Yep.
that's it. The one I've written down here is you are human, is
Mm.
acknowledge you are human. You're a human being having human emotions, having a human experience in this world. So if you feel sad, okay, you feel sad.
Yeah.
If you feel happy, you're happy. If you feel hungry, you're hungry. Like, you're human. Whatever it is. If someone's upsetting you, whatever, just acknowledge. Like, I know we talked about, I didn't have the word acknowledge. Interesting. Awareness, we'll put that one up there. But you're a human. To let go and move forward, be aware you are human.
Yeah.
With human feelings, emotions,
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. Which is, so it's kind of moving on from that one is the acceptance, accepting where you are, what you're doing, what's going on. But remember, accepting that we teach others how to treat us.
Yeah.
And so if somebody's being, a little bit disrespectful of your time or demanding more than what you've got bandwidth for or space for, then it's like, wait. This is time to accept that you did or did not say something and that it needs to be changed. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I wrote down beside that, yes, you are important, which was what I talked about earlier, funny enough. The next tip I had is change it.
Yeah.
And I used to say, Moira said change it, and I wrote down or don't. But I love the way she being Moira, said change it. And when she says change it, change the way you talk about it.
Yeah. The
way you speak about it, internal or external, change the format of it, change the way you think, whatever it is, change it. And it's your choice to change it, not anyone else's.
Absolutely.
So I used to say change it or don't, and that is now that or don't has just been completely wiped out. It's change it.
Yep, we don't say don't anymore. Well,
No.
because we know that change is a constant in this life. So whether we want to say, in fact, if we have a decision to make and we put it off, that's still a decision.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like we still and say, oh no, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change. Well, we just did something to change. I've just stuck up for that part. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got stuck to it.
Yeah.
The next one I have is comparison. God, not like we've talked about that in numerous conversations and episodes. We've talked about the comparison. It robs us of us being the boss of ourselves, of us standing in our own genius.
I love the way you say it robs us, because it does. It robs us so much of so much.
Yeah. And it's actually a disrespect to ourselves too. Because we are worthy of our own loving kindness, our own respect, our own acknowledgement of who and what we are. And we are not somebody else. So we're here to be who we are, not anybody else. Yes.
Yeah, comparisons is you're on a downhill spiral. You just,
Oh, most definitely.
Funny, as I look at my next tip. Staying present to your spiral.
Yes.
Surprise. Staying present to your spiral. And when you see that spiral, jump on it straight away.
Yeah.
Like there's no delay. Like the moment you see it, that's it. Staying present to your spiral.
That's one of the key pieces. One of the key pieces about letting go is to stay present to it and notice it. And sometimes that's enough to let go. Oh, I'm in my spiral. Okay, done. Pattern interrupted. Not doing that right now.
Yeah, that's a pattern interrupt. That's exactly it. Oh, bang, see it, done.
Yep, absolutely. The next one I have is, I was talking about reclaiming your power, but also having patience and letting go of any guilt or shame. So there's just all these pieces in that tip about being patient, being kind. That's actually referencing back to finding your rhythm and being flexible is saying, okay, so for right now, this is as far as I'm going to go. But it's about not getting into, oh, I should have done it this way, or I didn't do it that way, or I suck because I did that, or right. So it's just, that is where your power is. It's the gentle nurturing power that I'm referencing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then I talked about seen, heard, and acknowledged.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
talked about the amazing hotel experience
Mhm.
at the very end of checking out. And everyone wants to be seen, heard, and acknowledged.
Mhm.
And even the way Moira talked about getting her car pulled,
Towed.
what do you call it? Towed.
Yeah.
Her car towed. The way she interacted with that human being gave her a leg above everyone else, instead of abusing and
Mhm.
shouting and hurling whatever at that person. At the end of the day, Moira broke the law and had to deal with it.
Yep.
There's nothing more you can say about it. You can't argue with them about.
I can't shout at anybody. No.
Yeah, the warning was there. Exactly. And so the way she interacted with that person, Moira saw, heard, and acknowledged that woman, but she also saw, heard, and acknowledged Moira. And that was where the shift in dynamics were, and I wrote down, treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. I think that's such an important piece.
Yeah.
100%. That in itself lets go of so much.
I was just going to say that sums everything up.
It does.
Now, that's our last tip, but I will say before Moira wraps this up, I will like to say is reach out. Yeah. Here's another tip. Reach out. Like Moira has a full letting go process.
I do.
Reach out to Moira and jump into that if you're stuck with this. If these tips are not working, I'm in a different time zone. If you want to reach out to me, I don't have a letting go process. I'm more listen to your intuition. Let's work through this with the strategies I have.
Mm-hmm.
So we both have something, but reach out. Don't let this spiral get out of hand.
Definitely. Don't let yourself sit there and feel stuck. Absolutely.
Yeah, because these tips definitely will work. But if it's too hard for you, don't
force it, or don't feel like you have to overcome it by
anymore.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome conversation. I love this conversation. Letting go to move forward. So before we kicked off our conversation, we did our wee check-in and checked to see where we are. And so
I'd let go and move forward. I completely forgot we were doing that. That's right.
So we hope that you made a note at the very beginning and checked in at our halfway point. And then we'd love to hear where you were at the beginning and where you are now. Deb was at a 2 and I was at a 1.5 at the beginning. Where would you say you are now?
I'm a 0.
But of course.
0 now.
Of course. As am I. I am a 0 myself. So But of course. So yeah. I love talking about letting go. So we trust that these tips inspired you to realize the power that you have to shape and remake, if necessary, your path forward. So your next step, if you like these tips, actually, I'm going to give you 2 steps. Number 1 step is, if you like this and this resonated, we encourage you to carry on the conversation. Share it with your friends, with your loved ones, with people that you think might need a wee bit of inspiration to help them move forward. But the other piece that I was going to say too is that if you have been trying to work with some of these tips and you're feeling like it's not shifting forward for you, you're not moving forward, then reach out to both of us on our Facebook group, or reach out to us individually or together by email. We're actually easy to find on social media. So that's the thing, is that's why I'm saying it's two-part, is to share this episode with people that you feel will be of benefit, but also make sure that you reach out and put you at the top of your priority list on letting go to move forward. So that's us wrapping up another one of our amazingly awesome, deliciously motivated mindset conversations podcast episodes. This is Moira over here and Debz over there.
Over there. Me.
Signing off, wishing you a great week. We'll be back with you again next week. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.